And the winner of the first PowerBook is, Steve Jobs. No.
Steve Jobs was undeniably the most charismatic tech leader in history.
Now, who wants a stylus?
He really knew how to work an audience.
Where's Phil, I wonder? There he is.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Phil. How you doing?
And even have a little bit of fun with it.
I'm Steve, and welcome to my weekly podcast, Super Secret Apple Rumors, featuring the hottest rumors about our favorite company.
But if you look a little closer, you'll notice patterns and trends that make Steve's product announcements the best in the business. And today I'm gonna break down that recipe so you can see very clearly the ingredients that make a perfect tech keynote. So let's start with the basics. There are two main rules that go into any Steve Jobs announcement. One, there is no such thing as an unimportant product. Whether you're announcing a chip swap to a product that already exists, or a new device like an iPod Shuffle that's basically just a flash drive with buttons and a headphone jack,
it's unbelievable.
nothing should ever be treated as an afterthought. And the second core principle is show, don't tell. This is probably something that you've heard if you've taken any marketing class ever in your entire life, but Steve Jobs really did it the best.
It weighs about the same as 4 quarters. That is under 1 ounce.
If you can't easily demonstrate why someone should be excited about your product, then it has no reason for being. But there's also a third element that goes into a Steve Jobs keynote, and that is, frankly, the audience. All of Apple's most impactful announcements have been accompanied by oohs and ahs or applause and cheers.
It's made out of titanium. This is how tiny it is. The first Mac with an Intel processor. It is.
You can kind of think of this like an old school sitcom laugh track. The reason that that was the standard in the entertainment industry was because of a principle called social proof. This is a tool used by marketers all the time. You've probably seen advertisements that say 9 out of 10 dentists recommend using this certain type of toothpaste. Or those Chevy commercials where real people show up and look at a Malibu. The idea is if you see other people feeling what the brand wants you to feel, you'll feel it too. So now that we understand the core principles that go into an exciting product announcement, let's unpack the Steve Jobs recipe right after a word from today's video sponsor. Have you ever found yourself having to explain a complicated workflow to someone and they just can't understand it without seeing it? That's where today's video sponsor, Scribe, comes in. Scribe records your workflow in real time and automatically builds a step-by-step guide to show anyone, including your grandmother, how to do it. First, get the Scribe extension, and then we hit Start Capture and go through the process of, for example, uploading one of my videos. As I go about the normal steps, you can see Scribe capturing the screen, mouse, and keyboard inputs and creating a step-by-step guide. If I do something I don't want recorded, I can easily delete the cards it creates, and when I'm done, I hit Stop Capture. And that's all there is to it. Scribe has now generated a step-by-step guide with mouse inputs and screenshots for everything that I just did, and I can easily go in to add further details or explanations. And when you share your Scribe, viewers can use the interactive Guide Me function to bring up your instructions within the workflow on screen, so they can see your steps and follow along. Scribe seamlessly integrates as a browser extension, allowing you to get things done without a lot of overhead. So if you want to learn more, check out the link in the description below or visit scribe.house/Luke Miani. A big thanks to them for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get back to it. When Steve Jobs returned to Apple in 1997, he outlined exactly what the problem was at the company during his first address at Macworld.
Apple is executing wonderfully on many of the wrong things.
And so very quickly, he redefined not just the products that Apple manufactures, but the way that those products are announced to the public. And this is where things get clever. Steve Jobs understood that the average consumer was not going to sit down and watch an hour-and-a-half long product presentation. So he needed journalists to act as a conduit. You announce the products on stage to an audience of informed individuals, give them all of the tools to describe what your product is and does, and they will pass that message along to the consumer. Mix that with some flashy designs and crisp advertising, and you've got yourself a recipe for viral success. So how exactly did he do this? Well, I think we can break down a Steve Jobs product announcement into a 3-act structure. Act 1, context. You have to explain what the market is doing to explain why you can do it better.
They all have these keyboards that are there whether you need them or not to be there.
And what made this so revolutionary is that in marketing, typically this is an internal thing. It's called a SWOT analysis, which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What are the strengths of your competitors? What are their weaknesses in their products? What opportunities for improvement can you provide? And what threats do you need to watch out for as they respond to what you do? But instead of making this an internal analysis, Steve Jobs laid it all out in the open.
And what happens if you think of a great idea 6 months from now? You can't run around and add a button to these things, they're already shipped. So what do?
And that brings us to Act 2, setting expectations. This is a crucial step for managing your audience, because at this point, they're starting to understand your perspective on why other competitors don't offer something that they should want.
It's a very large target market all around the world. No one has really found the recipe yet.
But you now need to convince them that what you can offer is a better value than what everyone else is selling.
You can go buy a flash player, pay about double that, about $150, holds the same 10 to 15 songs. Or you can go buy a hard drive jukebox player for about $300. It holds about 1,000 songs and costs about 30 cents a song. And that's where we want to be.
Because the thing is, Apple's versions of these products were oftentimes significantly more expensive. It's relatively easy to come out and announce a new product that's similar to an existing product, but at a lower price point or with more features. That is easy for consumers to understand. But when you announce a $500 subsidized iPhone to a market that consists of mostly people getting their phones for free with carrier contracts,
for just $49.99 to get a second one free. These 2 fully loaded phones for just $49.99.
you're gonna get some interesting responses.
$500 fully subsidized with a plan? I said, that is the most expensive phone in the world.
So Act 2 is all about selling the audience on not only solving all of the issues that you've just laid out, but delivering more than they could have possibly expected at a lower price. And all of that should get your audience really, really excited and ready for Act 3, when you drop the hammer and exceed all expectations.
This is one device, an iSight camera built in. 4th generation iPhone.
At this point, the product speaks for itself. You might not even know why you're so excited, but when you see that design paired up with the value proposition that has been laid out, it is just an electric feeling. So I want to hone in on a couple of examples and let's see how this works in action. One of the keynotes that I think best exemplifies this is the MacBook Air. Steve excellently outlines where the market is, what they have tapped into in customer desire, and then he systematically dismantles that market, exposing the existing players as inadequate.
So we looked at this and we said, what do we like and what do we think is a compromise here? We think the weight's a good target. Too much compromising on thickness, less than a full-size display, less than a full-size keyboard, and we think you could put even more performance in one of these products.
Then he sets your expectations and increases anticipation.
This is the MacBook Air. The thickest part of the MacBook Air is still thinner than the thinnest part of the TZ series.
And finally, he smashes expectations by pulling a MacBook Air out of a manila envelope.
This is the new MacBook Air.
And the beauty of this system is that the product doesn't need to be good. The thing is, the original MacBook Air was terrible. The technology was simply not ready in 2008 for what Steve wanted to build. It had processors that were woefully underpowered and overheating. It used the hard drives out of an iPod.
We've shipped tens of millions of these in iPods. We know them well.
And with a $1,700 starting price, or more than $2,600 today, it was astronomically expensive. You even had to pay $1,000 to get a solid-state drive in this thing. But none of that mattered. The seed was planted. People wanted that product. Another great example of this 3-act structure is the iPad announcement. I think this might actually be the best Apple keynote of all time, even better than the iPhone, because the iPhone was Apple revealing their solution to the cell phone, which already existed. When Jobs announced it, he broke down the elements from other designs and why they didn't work.
No. Who wants a stylus?
And then showed how they built iPhone and iPhone OS to solve those issues. But the iPad was trickier because it didn't compete like for like. They weren't saying, get rid of your cell phone and buy our cell phone. Instead, Jobs chose to compare the iPad to a netbook.
The problem is, netbooks aren't better at anything.
He expertly laid out in plain language and with the help of a literal chart what a device that sits between a smartphone and a laptop should do. So by the time that we actually saw the iPad, we already knew what it did. This is something you just don't see anymore. A product that on its face should have no business competing, but ultimately, after listening to Jobs' argument, the viewers left with no doubt. The iPad is the answer. And it worked. iPad sales skyrocketed and the netbook basically died out overnight. And that's kind of the simple beauty of this 3-act structure. Steve Jobs was such an effective communicator that he could sell you on a product before you'd even seen it. I mean, he was basically announcing the products backwards, telling everybody the technical details and why they should want it before he showed it to them, and by the time they saw it, they were so excited, he would generate these insane reactions that were perfect for clips that would be shown on the news.
After a wave of international hype, Apple chief Steve Jobs took the stage and played ringleader, this time with what he calls the iPad.
Steve Jobs was kind of the original clip farmer if you think about it. And now that you know these tricks, I guarantee go watch any Apple keynote and you will see them at play. Tell people why the market is weak, tell them why your product is better, and then show it to them.
We had to come up with a new, original idea that would make a product that was way better than this. And then we saw it. It was clear as a bell. Shuffle. The iPod Shuffle. It's so simple.
He'd give live demos so that you could see these products actually in action.
Where's Phil, I wonder? There he is.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Phil. How you doing?
Hell, sometimes he'd even pass it around so that you could understand why what they had done was so special.
I'd like to actually pass one of these around. All right, come on in the back. You guys are a little slow. Let's move on through.
But there is one more thing, one other aspect that supersedes everything that we've talked about. The real special sauce, if you will, that makes a Steve Jobs product announcement feel so special. And that is just, frankly, his honesty. Steve would sit up there and get frustrated when a product demo didn't go right.
My camera's not turning on. I've got a little bug here. All right. Well, that's why we have backup systems here. You know, you could help me out if you're on Wi-Fi, if you could just get off.
He would make little jokes for the audience.
I'm Steve, and welcome to my weekly podcast, Super Secret Apple Rumors, featuring the hottest rumors about our favorite company.
The teenage effects are really great. Like, I'm going to pick Bulge here.
And he'd talk to you like you were just standing there in the room with him.
We got a lot of feedback that the toolbars on the Finder and the other apps were just too big. We've made them dramatically smaller, as you can see here on the Finder.
I mean, even the most dramatic announcements were more or less boiled down to like, here it is. And then he'd stand there and hold it up.
Voila. This is it. That's what it looks like.
Boom. That's iPod. I happen to have one right here in my pocket, matter of fact. There it is, right there.
It's just so beautifully simple. It doesn't require any flashy animations or graphics. It doesn't require a reveal video with cool music. I mean, genuinely, look back on any keynote before 2012, you will not see a reveal video. Those only started to become a thing once Tim Cook took over. I mean, even the iPhone, when he announced the design, he literally just put a picture of it up on the screen.
But what we're going to do is get rid of all these buttons and just make a giant screen. A giant screen.
And that, I think, is really the key. If you want to understand what made Steve Jobs such an effective communicator, it's that he wasn't trying too hard, just laying it all out and telling people how you think they should be excited for something, so by the time they see it, they're as excited as you. That's really all there is to it. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. Let me know if you've picked up on any of these things or if you learned something new in today's video. As usual, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.